Yes, please, the gentleman in front first and then the one at the back.
I'm Mohammed Amin from the Muslim Council of Britain delegation. We've heard about the importance of spending more money on education. I totally agree with you. But my question is, in the Muslim world, what other factors about the education system, apart from money, discourage the level of creative and critical thinking? Because there's much research, for example, pure mathematics can be done without cost. So what is it about our educational system, particularly in a Muslim environment, which actually brings up our children so they learn not to think?
Yes, please.
Well, I think a problem-solving approach is extremely important to be inculcated. A questioning approach rather than just believing the written word as being final. So that has to be inculcated right from the very early age, to question everything. Why this and why not that? Often you have a dogma kind of an approach where you just appear in an examination, learn the facts and then reproduce them. If you can do that well enough, you pass your exams. So there is a need for basic change in the way subjects are taught to the students, and this then is linked to their personality development and then ultimately to their innovative skills to question, can we do this better than whatever has been done before?
Yes. Dr. Ghazi, would you like to add something?
Perhaps I would say this. This is the time, it's a good question actually, this is the time for us to adopt and say, hey, let's examine our education system. The current education system generally is actually killing creativity, to use a strong word, killing creativity. Why? Because rote memory. You recognize the how many A's, 20 A's, front page in newspapers, the media make it back, and finally they thought it's just achievement of academic excellence. There is some attempt of balancing it with some other soft skills, communication skills, creative thinking. As you already say, right from beginning, you must encourage people the students to voice out and to ask a lot of questions and entertain. That's why I say, if the environment encourages this, then right from the beginning, you will see my grandchildren, for example. I mean, they are asking a lot of questions. Of course, sometimes even the adults get annoyed. But I think that you have got to tolerate. And the young generation now is entirely different from the time when I grew up. But the fact that you follow technology, the critical question is, do we want to change? That's the basic thing. What is the biggest change? The biggest change is changing that model. I would say the education model of the old to the education model of the new. Start young and bring it out from kindergarten to primary school to secondary school to colleges and universities. If universities do not do this, then when it comes to university, it is just endorsing and killing the real creativity. And then we expect their research going to be commercialized. Perhaps that's also one answer why we say there are a lot of discoveries, but why is it not in the market? For that reason, for example, one example, Macri has a national competition on Malaysia's dream bamboo super hybrid car. We want 27 Malaysians to think innovatively. Why bamboo? Because it represents green technology and sustainability. I can talk for another hour on bamboo. I think that's enough.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I think the environment.
Yeah,
Sorry, the environment is still very important, even at home, for the child. For example, there was this guy named Steve. You may know the story. Steve was just playing with a glass of milk during dinner time, and he started to push the glass to the edge of the table. And his mother said, "Steve, please don't do that." But Steve just didn't listen to his mother, and he pushed it, and the glass toppled and broke. But Steve, being in the West, his mother asked him, "Steve, what you learned from it?" But if in Malaysia or in many other Asian countries, he says, "I'll whack you."
Yeah.
You know, we have to let our children nurture and grow, and to be open. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are significant differences, but the thing that sort of interests me about the last two questions is the issues that are raised are exactly the same issues as the more mature countries are wrestling with at the moment. I mean, if you look at the UK election, Certainly a significant issue, although we never, in the context of the television debates, got to these significant issues in the debate. But education and the role of science and engineering were two issues that are of critical importance. And I think that the real reason for this is the following. Any city-state, abstracting from the Muslim communities for a minute, any city-state like Malaysia, like Singapore, like China, like the UK, any of these countries, if they want to flourish internationally, assuming a free trade, a global free trade environment, has to emphasize these areas for growth. So technology, education, infrastructure, science. And I think the point that was previously made about China and the constituency of the cabinet, I think the Politburo is still all engineers. There may be a sociologist that has crept in there recently, almost unnoticed, but basically they get it. And I think it's arrogant for us in the West to believe that populations of the order of the 1.3 or maybe even 1.5 billion Chinese, of the 1.1 or 1.2 billion Indians, will not solve the problems that those two questions raised. I am totally doubtless, without any doubt at all, that China will lead scientifically in a very short period of time, or certainly will rival the US scientifically. And I'm certainly of the view that India will certainly develop along those lines too. The weight of population is so great and so significant, it would be arrogant to believe that intelligence, scientific intelligence, was distributed by wealth. It isn't. It's a normal distribution curve. And the bigger the population, the more probability you have of success in this area if it's harnessed and unleashed, which is in the process of being so. But the problems are exactly the same.
Thank you, Sir Martin.